Okay, we only have about 2 to 3 minutes left, so I want to talk briefly about the benefits of caffeine, especially what the impact it has on you athletes. As everyone should know, caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant. To coffee, soda, energy drinks, stuff you guys kind of drink every day. Now, the average person, can drink about 200 to 300 milligrams per day in the form of food and beverages, and even more, and there's no ramifications. With you guys, there are because you're athletes. So let's just go through real quick and talk about the benefits. So the benefits to caffeine is, especially with athletic movement exercises, you have decreased pain and perception of fatigue. This will allow you to train at a higher intensity. So if you do a caffeine dose, and I don't just mean drinking Pepsi, but it will help you in your workouts, so you will benefit from that. And you get a decreased and perceived, perceived exertion. So you kind of trick your body. This allows you to have longer strength training sessions. And some stuff you don't really feel or notice a difference until you, one day you're not taking it, the next day you are. So you would really feel a difference. The third benefit is improved performance and endurance. So like if you're a long distance runner, and you take some before, an hour before an event, you can see how your distances will go farther and you won't fatigue as fast. And also increasing coordination. Ability to focus and concentrate, as well as sustain training intensity. So it will help you with part of your coordination, be able to focus a little better. Just think like when you guys go study, it's like, oh man, I need to get an energy drink to stay awake, I can focus better. So that's the benefits that you're seeing right there, and we can also see those benefits in athletic performance. Moving on to the disadvantages, and this is a concern for athletes, especially athletes in our school. Want to make sure, if you're consuming at a high level, it can lead to GI issues. I know I've had athletes in the past who, they said their stomach hurts, and we find out they're taking a ton of energy drinks, a ton of caffeine, and obviously the energy drinks have a lot of sugar and stuff in there that's not very good for you. But that can lead to really a lot of stomach problems. Nausea, same thing, and it also can give a negative impact on your training. So if you're in there and you're working out and you're like, I felt good yesterday, but then maybe you doubled your dose of caffeine intake, you can see kind of a negative effect on your training. You don't feel as strong, you're fatiguing faster, and you just don't feel as good in that workout. And also less sleep, even though it's caffeine, and if you take it moderately, it shouldn't affect you as much. But if you take too much of it, it's to stay awake. People that you would take caffeine back in the 70s and 80s just to stay awake. So you're gonna lose some sleep, and it's gonna decrease your performance output as well. Especially the next day if you didn't get a lot of sleep, just not having rest alone will hurt your performance. When it's consumed regularly, you can get withdrawals. So if you're a person who really drinks, consumes a lot of caffeine, whether it's in sodas and energy drinks, and then you go try to take even more for performance, and then you kind of start weaning yourself off a little bit too fast, the withdrawal effects are headaches, fatigue, depression. I've seen people just be totally down the dumps. It's kind of that crash, like the 5-hour energy commercial where they talk about, you take your energy stuff, and you get that crash after 6 hours. So that's kind of what they're talking about. You just kind of wah in your body. You're irritable, obviously when you're fatigued and have headaches, you're irritable anyway. And of course, insomnia and not able to sleep at all. It also can give you an irregular heartbeat, and it can lower your blood pressure, which are two things that are very unsafe, especially for an athlete who's performing at intense levels. The other issue is when it's consumed without fluids. You got to make sure you drink fluids. You can't just assume, I'm drinking this energy drink or whatever that has caffeine in it, and assume those are your fluids. And also, it's got a huge negative impact on thermal regulations in hot environments. So especially out there in our region, the Central Valley, Sacramento Valley, gets really hot, especially in the spring and summer. Those times you're going to sweat a lot of stuff out. You got to make sure you stay hydrated when you're taking those caffeine dosing stimulants. Athletic benefits, yes, there are, of course. It can improve endurance performance by 70 to 75%. A lot of studies have shown that. It can have an ergonomic impact on number of reps during a session. So the number of reps that you can do during a session is good. You feel like you have less fatigue. It doesn't have there's no studies that show that it has an impact on muscular strength as it relates to your 1 RM, your 1 max weight that you can lift. It doesn't have an effect on how much you can lift or strength, muscular strength in general, but it can help you get more out of your sessions. NCAA guidelines. It's not written in stone in there, like it doesn't explain in detail about caffeine, but it does list stimulants as a banned substance, and it lists caffeine as one of the stimulants on there. Obviously other stuff on there like ephedra, anything meth related, Adderall. A lot of guys get tested in NCAA, especially Division I before regionals, and they're taking Adderall to get through their studies. bam, they get drug tests and the random drug test, they're out. You know, it's not really something, it is performance enhancing because it helps you focus. So anyone who has to take Adderall medication and has it prescribed, you got to come to us. Make sure you get the form filled out for the NCAA to approve you to be taking it because it is a banned substance. Also, if you do test, so there's in the drug test, it's a urinary caffeine concentration drug test. So if you exceed 15 micrograms per liter, it's considered a positive drug test. So just make sure you stay under those guidelines, and we can talk more and give you guys handouts on what the proper intake can be. Recommendations, amount and timing. You know, it's just about when you take it, how much you take. If you consume 2 to 6 milligrams per your body weight, so like for example, 150-pound person, 1 hour before training of any training activity, it's 20 minutes or more, you'd be fine. You'd be totally fine. So just gotta make sure you check those labels. In what form? Again, keep an eye on the labels. Coffees and teas tend to have more energy, or I'm sorry, more caffeine than like energy bars or stuff that, you know, that has caffeine in it. So make sure you check the labels. You know, just because I just had a small bit of you know, coffee today, which is like, you know, 3-4 cups, as opposed to had an energy bar. Check the labels. The labels matter a lot. So that you can't say I didn't know. That's not, the NCAA doesn't care. They don't care if you didn't know. You have to know. So you can always check with us. Nutrients. Don't forget to eat. You know, consuming caffeine is not your number one nutrient. So it's not, oh, I had all these caffeine intakes, so that's going to cover me. I don't need any of my carbs, my proteins, any of my fats. I don't need to take any of that stuff. So make sure you still eat properly, especially the night before an event, in the morning of an event, and also make sure you drink plenty of fluids. You know, water is obviously the best thing. You know, in the dugouts, the gyms, we have the Gatorade and stuff for individuals, but just make sure we're drinking a lot of fluids. Stay hydrated. Habits. If you're someone who consumes a high level of caffeine, you know, you need to lower it like about 10 days before competition. So if you're, you know, going to do a big cross-country run, and you're someone who usually consumes a lot of caffeine to get through your days, lower that intake a little bit. Otherwise, when you get back to go compete, you try to do some caffeine dosing, it won't be as effective. So make sure we get that out of our system, lower the intakes, it'll be more effective on performance day. And then individual basis. Everyone responds differently to caffeine intake. So just because, you know, one person, it may really give them more stimulant than someone else, but also it might affect someone a lot who's never taken it. So if you've never really done any caffeine intake or consumption just for the reason of perform better in an event, don't do it for the first time right before an event. You know, do it on a practice day and just see how you feel. You don't want to get jittery and not be yourself in an event and be able to compete. So, you know, we're running out of time here, so I appreciate you guys taking the time with me, and we'll get back in here and we'll send you some stuff about the NCAA guidelines as well in the future. Thank you.